Only on NBC5 tonight, the Jackson County Juvenile Detention Center is working on making each of its departments more trauma-informed and a more welcoming place for the kids that get dropped off every day.
NBC5's Allison Ross gained exclusive access to the detention center and takes us behind the locked doors to see what changes the center is making.
It's not filled with kids who everything is right already. It's filled with kids who have a lot wrong in their lives, and that doing a crime was available, accessible, and not too hard to do.
The Jackson County Juvenile Detention Center is working on solutions to help kids who are dealing with trauma.
To deal with trauma within, a correctional, it's hard because they don't go in well together in terms of that. And so I think that, we're really seeing, especially on the youth side, a lot more kids are having coming to us with trauma.
To combat some of the trauma, the center brought back the Juvenile Justice Advisory Committee 6 months ago. It then created a subcommittee centered around trauma, which could be anything from a child coming from an unstable home environment to a violent event in the family. Staff from Central Medford High School, Asante, Resolve, Southern Oregon Success, United Way, and the Juvenile Detention Center make up that subcommittee. It's already recommended changes to the facility.
Small changes, incremental changes, make all the difference. It's not often that huge changes make all the big difference.
Some of those changes include giving kids earplugs and a sleeping mask when they first arrive rather than as a reward.
If we have other kids that are being disruptive, that's just something that can kind of calm kids down too.
It also will bring in support animals to visit the center.
It's really part of trauma-informed care. When you care and nurture and give love, and the animal responds.
The center is repainting the main areas to brighten up the space, adding chalk paint in the cells for kids to have a more creative outlet, and having 24/7 access to crisis mental health. The committee is also trying to find a new way to introduce the kids to the facility when they first arrive, to help them better adjust. Mental health screenings can also provide proper care.
And then we have a screening tool for kids coming into detention called the Maisie 2. It also looks at a lot of different pieces: substance abuse, anger management, decision making, and there's a piece on trauma. And so it again kind of gives a score and kind of as a pre-screen, and then we work with our mental health professionals in terms of them then working more with the youth and or family.
And before a kid goes on probation, they take the ACEs mental health test. Some of the questions include: did your parents or an older adult in the household often or very often swear at you or insult you? Did an adult or person 5 years older ever touch you? Did a household member ever go to prison?
To kind of get what their ACEs score is, and then that will also then recommend ongoing mental health counseling and things like that. So if kids already have a high ACE score, that's something that hopefully through resiliency that they can change and be able to have a more positive impact.
And the goal isn't to make it better just for them while they're there. The goal is to make it successful for reentry.
When kids leave our program, to making sure they're still connected with a mental health worker back in the community.
All of it designed to help kids become more productive members of the community.
The goal of our system is to reduce recidivism, so kids aren't committing additional crimes.
What they don't want to have is that juvenile be the pipeline to prison.
In Medford, Allison Ross, NBC5 News.
The Juvenile Detention Center is comprised of detention, residential, and probation.
Each area is working to implement their own changes to make the facility better suited for kids dealing with trauma. In June, the committee will reconvene to see where the center is in the process and make more recommendations.
Coming up tomorrow in part 2 of our exclusive report, we'll hear from one local boy who's been in and out of the facility for years and how he's applying lessons he learned in juvenile detention to turn his life around.